How do? Like a lot of people, Debs were worried after the event, 24 hours after we did the little video, that she might not have come across, or she could have mentioned this, that and the other. Yeah, it don't matter. It's your story. I'm going to go back and see Debs again. We're going to go into narcissism in a lot more detail. So Debs being diagnosed with ME and fibromyalgia. One of the worst things with that is brain fog, which is exactly what it says, yeah? Anyway, her story, let me tell you, started over 35 years ago. Like a lot of people, still lives with it now. PTSD, PTSD, complex PTSD, nightmares, lives with a lot of guilt. She did really good. Me, I was tearing up, me, at points in that video. These are real people, real stories, and they're still living some of their nightmares now. So that's Debs. I'll see you. How do?
How do?
With this young lady, Debs. We're calling you Debs, aren't we? No, yeah. Deborah, no posh Deborah.
No.
Been through more trauma than soft Mick. We've had a good chat. You're rocking the car now.
Sorry.
Right, so we're not talking about childhood. Like I've said before, we've had a brief discussion about Debs' childhood. It's all about you, as in you, the people. You talk about what you want to. So we're going to talk about a military career and something I've never heard before about being loved bombed.
Yeah, and I didn't know about it until my daughter told me that's what it's called now.
Excuse the accent. I'll try and get subtitles up so you can tell what she's saying.
It's a mixture of everything, so I'm sorry. I've lived all over this shop, so okay. I don't know who I am.
Take it away. Catterick, away you go.
Catterick, yeah.
I'm all ears.
I was posted to Dutchess Kent Military Hospital. I was in the QARANC, Queen Alexander's Royal Army Nursing Corps, in the 80s. I was an auxiliary nurse at the time, and they used to call them ward stewardesses. Or trolley dollies.
Are you like a proper nurse?
I am now, yeah. I was now. I did my degree after.
Is a military nurse not a proper nurse then?
Yeah, you have military nurses as well. Yeah, they do. But I could have gone and done that, but I didn't have enough confidence at the time. And they didn't have spaces for the old SENs. You know, you used to have the SENs. They used to take
state
those
enrolled
in.
Nurse.
Yeah, and I wanted to do that, but at the time they didn't have room. They weren't taking any more of those on.
And you were very young.
And I was very young. I was 17 when I applied, and I just wanted to get away from home. Really, that's the reason. I knew I wanted to do some form of nursing, but I just wanted to get away from home. And I thought I saw the advert in a Jackie mag one day for the QAs.
Jackie mag.
Jackie mag.
I mean, a lot of people of a certain age.
Yeah, Jackie mag, and I thought, oh yeah, that'll suit me. I'll do that. So.
Really?
Yeah, I did. I just thought, yeah, right, I'll apply for that. I didn't think, oh, you could go and train at the London hospitals or go and do it. No, I just thought, oh, no, army, go in the army. Yeah, get away. Just wanted to get away from home.
Cool.
And you had to go through it. It was strict, you know, it wasn't easy to get in. It was hard, but I got in. And I know when I got in, that when they were interviewing me, they said, well, don't you want to go for the SRN, as it was at the time?
State registered nurse.
Yeah. Because I'd got the qualifications to do it. I'd done well at school because I liked school, because that meant I weren't at home.
Okay.
So, I enjoyed studying to a degree. I weren't a boff. I was middle of the road, but yeah. So I managed to do enough I could have done that. And so I said, no, I can't imagine sticking a needle in anybody or anything. God, I've done no end now. But so... No, I was stewardess. I just wanted to get away. Well, you've got to do a year where you work before you join. They wouldn't let you join.
Okay.
Before. So I did. I worked in a care home and for a bit. And then when I got my call up, then it was about 2 months before I was going to be 18. So I went for basic training, Aldershot, did all of that. And then I got posted up to Catterick.
Do you do the basic training as a soldier?
Yeah, you do a lot of that. You do all your MBC kit, your gas masks, you're running with a stretcher. I think the patient would have been dead by the time we got there because it fell off that many times. It was good fun. You got you fit, did get you fit. I was very fit by the time they'd finished with me. So
did it at no point put you off?
No, not at all. I loved it. I really enjoyed it. I mean, the QA training centre's not there anymore.
And then Off to Catterick.
Off
Tell
to
people what
first
Catterick is.
posting. Catterick is you got a Catterick camp, which is North Yorkshire, and me and another girl that I'd done basic training with, we were the only two posted to Duchess Kent Military Hospital that's no longer there.
Was that within the grounds of Catterick?
It was within the grounds of Catterick camp.
Is that a military hospital?
Yeah.
For soldiers?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. But you did deal with civvies as well. You did have civvies in as well. And there was a ward for old people as well, but they had civilian nurses looking after them. And it was a modern hospital. It was built, it was called a bit of a hotel, really, how it was. It was a lovely hospital. Miniature version of the Woolwich Hospital in London that was the military hospital. And you had your barracks across the road, and then you'd cross the road to get to work every day. You'd start at 7. You had
so hold on, you're a young military nurse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Plenty of attention.
Lots of attention, yeah. Not that I think we all did. We were like fresh meat, really, when you think about it. When you first get there, you're fresh meat, aren't you? So they're all like,
lining up.
Yeah, they were, and you're in the naffy at night, and you're all like, God knows how many discos we
What's
had.
a naffy?
Naffy. It's where
I know what it is, but
yeah, naffy. I can't remember what it stands for because my brain's gone. But it is where you had a bar and you had a cafe, and you could go in there for drinks. Vodka, 30p a shot.
30p a shot, a few cheeky ones.
Yeah.
Were the young men buying you drinks?
Yeah, a lot of the time. Yeah, or you just go in there for a hot chocolate and a cheese toasty, whatever, depending. You could go in there sort of lunchtime and at night, and they had a bit of room for a disco and everything and all the rest of it. And it was good times. We had some good fun. There was always parties. There was a lot of rugby. A lot of the lads played rugby, especially the chefs. So you used to get some of the rugby shenanigans going on.
I don't know what you mean.
Put it that way. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean. Listen, let's talk about Love Bomb. How did that start?
Well, it started with...
Because this really is...
Yeah, this is what it's about. He who became my first husband, he was 9 years older than me. He'd already been married and had 2 children. And his marriage had recently finished. And he was working he was a chef, and he was working over at the officers' mess. And I'd never seen him before until apparently he was going out with my friend who was in the room next to me for a little while. And then they finished. And I'd been going out with the bloke who she started going out with in the end. It didn't sort of overlap, but it was
Keys in the ashtray.
No, not like that. No. No, it weren't. I didn't. So she ended up with him, and I ended up with...
Good looking, was he?
He was, yeah.
Big fella?
He was tall. He was quite good looking, I'd say he was, yeah. Yep. And my son does look like him, so, yeah, my son's good looking. I don't say he's not, so, yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, he was good looking. I thought he was. But he's, it was really quite quick. I don't remember the first sort of time we started to go out.
Is that because you had too many 30p vodkas?
Probably. But I can't... We didn't really even go out, because you'd just go in the naffy and you'd have your drink in there because it was so cheap. And then you'd be at the discos or whatever, and then they'd sort of come back to your room, even though they're not meant to.
Okay.
Because the men weren't supposed to be in the female block.
What did they come back to your room for?
Bit of extracurricular.
Okay. I think we know where that's going.
Yeah, I mean, there was a square. It was really funny. You'd have, and especially when it snowed up there, because the bloke's block was across there and the female block was there, and you'd see all the footprints in the snow going back and forth.
Okay.
Even then. But, yeah, you used to have some parties in the male block as well. But, yeah, so we got quite serious quite fast, actually. But, he was always sort of sending me cards, doing drawings.
Is this the love bomb bit?
The love bombing, yeah. He used to, when he got a 3-month posting to the Falklands while he was there. And he started to send me roses, quite frequently. least more than once a month.
So he's courting, isn't he?
Yeah, he
you know,
is.
old-fashioned.
Yeah, but it was a lot. And when you think about it, it was a lot, I suppose. And I had, you know, the old blueies, the airmail. They used to just... So he used to send me so many of them and they'd all land in one big heap, you know, writing about there weren't a lot going on down there, to be honest, but what was going on and this, that and the other. And, you know, I thought all this attention, it was amazing. And I can't even remember how he proposed to me. I mean, we'd been going out a year by the time he proposed. We got married. Got married after a year. I was 19 when we got married in Richmond.
Which it is young, isn't it? It
is young. If my daughter had wanted to get married at 19, I'd have gone...
Thrown a fit.
Yeah, I would have done. So I'm not surprised that my dad did a bit. He tried to talk us into, like, waiting a bit, but you don't when you think you're in love, do you?
No.
You don't. You think, no, I'm going to do it, and this, that and the other. So got married, and then he was posted to Germany, and I don't know, I didn't want to carry on with my career for whatever reason. I could have got a posting over to Germany. I don't know why I didn't pursue that. I thought, no, I'll get out and I'll just follow him. So I followed him, and we had a married quarters over there. And he was posted with an RCT, which is the transport regiment.
Okay.
And I was quite isolated, obviously.
Yep.
No mobile phones there.
No.
My parents never had a phone either, a landline.
Yep.
So there was none, you know, communication apart from letters. And after a little while, I thought, oh, well, you know, maybe I should have a child. It was as easy as that.
Really? So you're in married quarters on a military base. What was that like? Is it a bit... Can you go anywhere you want?
Yeah, well, it's
not military.
You're sort of... No, you can, because it's just like houses that are just up from the base. So you're not within the confines of the base. They're like German houses that were built, and you're living with other military personnel, like families.
Yeah.
But the German residents now were just over the road. You weren't sort of totally away from... And you could go wherever. You could go on the tram into the town, or you could go up where you know, go wherever you want.
And was he still love bombing you at this point?
No, that had stopped.
Had it changed much, or?
Well, he was still all right, but I mean, I thought we were happy. He was okay. I weren't getting love bombed or anything. You know, that had sort of worn off, and he was at work quite a bit. And then in Germany, you're big for doing exercises where they'd have to go off and exercise and stuff. At this point, when I was pregnant, I mean, I had my son when I was 21, so I got pregnant at 20.
Yep.
I did actually ring my mother up and, you know, at her neighbours where she'd go every week on a Tuesday. I knew she'd be there, so I rang her up to tell her I was pregnant. And all I got was, oh, no. You know, so that was like the support I was going to get.
Yep.
So I thought, oh, great, okay. So I was dealing with all that on my own. I'd made friends with a couple of the neighbours, so they were quite nice. But he got sent off on various exercises, and then on one of these exercises, he decided that he didn't want to be there. It was a 2-week exercise, and he went absent without leave, basically.
Ooh, got off.
So I had the Royal Military Police round searching everywhere. Where is he? And there's me. I was about 8 months pregnant at the time.
Hold on a minute. So you've got married quarters on a base. He's gone on an exercise. He's got off. He's now on the run.
He was in the woods at the back.
Did you know he were in the woods at the back?
Yeah, I did. But I weren't going to dob him in because I thought, you know. But yeah, he'd stay up there all day and then come back to the house at night and go to bed. And they never sort of came and checked then. I eventually told him, look, come on, you've got to hand yourself in. So we walked along. It was thick snow, I remember, and he handed himself in. And he was put in clink for, I can't remember how long it was for, actually. So he was in military jail. And I was up at the house on my own. I didn't drive or anything at this time. So I was stuck there, pregnant. I think they did send some of the privates up in a range, like a Land Rover, to take me down to visit him a couple of times. And that lot. But he was a Lance Corporal at the time, and he lost that, so he ended up being private.
So what are you thinking at this point? You know, you've been love bombed, you moved to Germany, sacked your career, got pregnant.
I felt very let down, actually, because I did think I was going to be travelling a bit with him. Do you know what I mean? In the army, I thought I'll travel a bit more with him because he'll get posted. I mean, he'd had some exotic postings.
Still in love with him?
I was, yeah. But I'd found out him at one time. Yeah, I was 8 months pregnant, 9 months pregnant nearly at this time. 21st birthday, the night of that turned into the morning of my 21st birthday. He wasn't a social bloke normally. This should have been a red flag. He didn't have lots of friends in the army. And he didn't come home till 3 a.m. And I found out later that he'd been having a relationship with one of the kitchen women. Not till a lot later on. Oh, it wasn't me, it was somebody else, and blah, blah, blah. But I'm in this position, so I just sort of I thought, yeah, he wouldn't do that, blah, blah.
Young and naive.
Yeah, very naive. Bloody stupid, I'd say. Am I naive? But, yeah, so he'd already cheated on me when I was, like, about due to drop. So, initially, when I had my son, though, he was a very good father. He was very hands-on, and he was very good with my son. And he used to bath him, and, you know, he really did do stuff. But my son was only 3 months old when he got posted back to Aldershot, and he'd already had the letter through saying they were reducing the armed forces down. That's when they first started to cut the armed forces.
Yep.
And because he hadn't made the rank he should have done he'd been in a long while at this point.
Yep.
Then he was going to be opposite. He could do his last 6 months in England.
How rude are they flying over with a plane?
They're here all the while.
Is it Bobby's?
A lot of the time, yeah, or air ambulances, yeah.
Okay, but sorry about that.
Sorry, yeah. So we ended up back in Aldershot for the last 6 months.
Yep.
And then at that point, you could be put down to, when you finish, you could be put down on a council list, and the council are obliged to house you. They don't seem to house
military
veterans now,
they don't
which
get
is
a
terrible.
lot of help now, do they?
They don't get any help now, but they did then. And I didn't think I could have moved back to where my home in Hertfordshire was.
Yep.
But I didn't realise that I could, and I don't know, I should have done really. But we ended up in Edinburgh, which is where his family lived.
Yep.
His mother was Scottish, his father was French-Canadian, and his father was still over in America.
Yep.
So we did get a council house, a flat up in Edinburgh, just round the corner from his mum, who I'd never met. They never came to the wedding, none of his family. I mean, that should have been a flag, really. And I had to pick his best man because he didn't have any friends. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit odd when you think about it. And that's when it really started to go.
Was he socially inept? Or just...
I don't know. He wasn't quiet or anything like that. He was a wind-up merchant, and he was, you know, he was very abusive, to me, and verbally abusive and mentally abusive initially.
At what point was that?
At what point? That started when we were in Edinburgh more than anything.
Okay.
Yeah, I know it was stress because he had to get a job and all the rest of it. So I put it down to that.
Yep.
But very belittling and very... But I mean, I suppose in a way, when we were still in the army and when I was still working, you know, he didn't like it because I was always quite social. He didn't like it if I went to a girl's hen do, and he made my life hell when I came back because he didn't want me to go.
Are we looking at a narcissist here?
Yeah, and he'd been through my albums, and he'd taken out pictures of ex-boyfriends that I'd had that were in the army or whatever. They weren't posed with me, they were just taken at parties or whatever, or this, that and the other. Now, when you look at it, you think, well, you had no right to go through my albums and take those out, but I did have a go, but then I let it go, which I shouldn't have done, because he had no right to do that. But so it was all there, and it did get to the point where I didn't go out on do's or anything, because I knew the crap I'd get when I come home. So he started the isolating quite early on, really, I think. Because when he went to the Falklands, I was obviously a bit more social then. And I came out and they went, where have you been for the past few months? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, Yeah, so Edinburgh, it all got very stressful. I got on all right with his mum, really. She weren't too bad. And Sean was only like, well, he was 3 months when we went back to the UK.
Yep.
And so he was probably about a year old or something by the time we were up there. And
were there any doubts then in your mind that maybe, or were you still quite young?
I was still quite young. I still thought we could make it work, and I still thought it was going to be okay. But he seemed to flip from job to job, and then he ended up doing this job where he was cooking for adults with special needs and stuff in a centre, I think, where they went to. And again, I didn't find out till later on that he had an affair with the boss, and he actually fathered a child with her, even though we went to her wedding, but she was pregnant at the time, and it was with his child.
Wow.
But he told me that afterward, like when we were going through this shit, when we ended up back down south, because we ended up getting burgled by kids on the estate, really, of a lunchtime.
In Edinburgh?
In Edinburgh. And I couldn't bear it anymore. I'd had enough then. We'd been there about a year, I think. And I said, no. And I spoke to my mother on the phone, and I said, look, because it's very expensive down south to up north, could you help me out a little bit with childcare, and I'll go back to work. And, and she did. She said she would, because she did love my son very much.
Yeah.
So go back down. So we ended up having to rent down there, but he didn't want to go. We nearly split up before then, and really I wish we had then.
Was he violent towards you?
Yeah, he started to get violent. He'd smack me across the head and face and stuff. He did that more when we went down south, but he'd started, because he didn't want to leave Edinburgh. Well, I know why now, don't I? So but he did come in the end, and he got a job which paid enough to afford private rent, because back then it was a lot more even than what it is now, actually, for down south when you put it into those terms. And I got a job as a doctor's receptionist, so I'll do that, and I quite enjoyed that. And Mum used to sort of help out with Sean. I got him in a nursery, not a nursery that was free, I had to pay. So, half the time you're paying for the nursery, really. But
working to pay for it, yeah.
Yeah, but it got me out, and it was like, so we were trotting along with that. And we'd been down there, I suppose, a couple of years. In between stuff, like, we didn't even sleep in the same room. I'd slept in another room, so we knew things weren't right. I just didn't want to sleep in the same bed.
Did the violence get worse?
Yeah, he got very, but he had a job where he worked away for a week, home for a week, away for 2 weeks. No, away for a week, home for 2 weeks. So it was all right when he was away, but when he was home, it was just, you were on eggshells with him the whole time, because you didn't know what mood he was going to be in, and he could turn as quick as that, and he'd hit you, or it was the mental abuse as well, more than anything as well.
But quite often, I don't think it gets appreciated, does it?
No.
Physical, yeah, horrendous. However, some of the mental torture
abuse
that people go through,
you feel like that. You takes all your confidence away. It just makes you feel like you're not worth anything. And I'd been made to feel that a lot throughout my life.
No confidence, and isolated.
Yeah. So, and I don't think he liked it, because we were closer. We were in the same town where my mum lived, so we were closer. Not that she was overly sort of there all the while. She wasn't, But it got to a point, whereas in the big bit, whereas in 1992, my sister was getting married. So it was all, and I was going to be maid of honour, and it was all getting it. And I just thought, I can't do this anymore. So we managed to get through the wedding. I'd lost a lot of weight. stress and everything. And he'd made my sister's wedding cake, and he kept saying, oh, I've hid it, oh, I've chucked it out, or I've done this, oh, you're not going to get, oh, I've taken an overdose of your, you know, period pain relief pills. And I got to the point where I didn't care. I didn't know where it come from. I said, well, I don't care. I said, go down the hospital and have your stomach pumped then. I said, just, you know, stop it. I've had enough. He was just really horrible. And then the big bit was he'd walked out of his job. So there was no way of paying. We'd bought a house at this point. There was no way of paying the mortgage. You know, he wasn't thinking about me or his son. He just, I don't know what was going on. Yeah, I think there were mental health issues there now, big time. But at the time, it was like, how are we going to pay bills? How are we going to... My wage didn't pay for it. And I'd said to him, if you ever leave your job, that's it. I've done. And he didn't think I meant it. And I remember it was really weird. We were watching an episode of The Bill one night, and I'd already been to the solicitor. I went with a friend, a very good friend, who got me through, to be honest. And it was just initially for a consultation, because I didn't even think I had grounds for divorce with everything. But when I told him everything that had gone on, he said, you've got more than enough grounds for divorce. For unreasonable behaviour. It's harder to prove the adultery bits and everything, but unreasonable behaviour. Yeah. And I wasn't going to tell him. The stuff was just going to be delivered, and I thought, no, I'm going to tell him. So I sat there watching an episode of Bill, and he's just looking at me, like, really, and I just said to him, well, I filed for divorce. And that was it then. That's when it all kicked the shit at the fan.
What?
Well, we managed to get him out of the house because I couldn't live with him. He said, didn't think he'd go. And he did go because he'd got a job in Boreham Wood at this point where he could live above where he was working. And I said, go and live there. I wasn't nasty to him. I just said, look, we've not been happy. We'd been married, 7 years at this point, 7 years, I think. And I said, you're not happy. I'm not happy. We've not even slept in the same room for the past 2 years. You know, let's just go our separate ways, and you can still see your son and that and the other. Well, something must have just happened. He just started to stalk me. He came running into my work one day and threatened to kill me in front of all the patients and everybody. It was lots of stuff like this, and he was following me everywhere. Then he started to sleep rough in his car. So my parents took him in. And I had to go down there every day to drop my son off. And he'd be sat there looking at me. It was awful.
Oh my
I don't
God.
even know, because my mum would not believe what was going on. She said I was a drama queen, and
these people are very good at hiding that, aren't they?
Yeah, everybody's saw how bad he was.
Everybody thinks they're amazing.
He was very good at putting the charm act on. Everybody thought, you know, oh, she's making it up, you blah blah blah. And one day he broke in. I mean, we got a injunction against him coming up the house, but he didn't care.
How's
about
the injunction work if he's at your mother's?
Well, I think this was after that. I can't remember it because this is 30+ years ago, but I do know he broke it all the time. He wasn't allowed at the house, but he broke it all the while, broke in, and I had to call the police, and the police said, if you don't want to come with us, we can't make him. But there was powers of arrest attached to the injunction, so I don't get why.
So he broke into your gaff and they...
Yeah, my son was watching Gladiators on the telly at the time, and he broke in, and he came straight at me and got me by the throat, and was gonna, I don't know, we were just rowing, and he was bashing my hip against the door, and it was awful. Went for a knife, and I just shouted bless to my son, go and get the neighbours, go and get the neighbours. And he was 5, and he had to run out and get the neighbours, and they rang the police, and they came up, and he was just sat there. He went and sat in there as cool as a cucumber, watching the telly with his son while they came up. Meanwhile, I'm bruised as hell and shook up and everything. He did go with them, luckily. But it was constant if I went for a night out, because I started to be able to go out here and there. I mean, at this time I was still only 26, do you know what I mean? So it was like, I thought, yeah, so I'd go on the odd night out with my friends, and Sean would have a babysitter or whatever, or I'd go to my sister's or anything, and you'd come back and he'd took the fuse, he'd got in, took the fuse out, so you had no lights when
Oh
you
my
got
God.
in.
So as a...
And it's all to scare you, isn't it?
Well,
And
I'm not being funny. If I walked in my house and
yeah,
you suspected somebody were there and lights weren't working,
yeah.
you know, it's
well,
not...
he took that, but he weren't there, he'd gone, but he'd done that. And then he'd done, all sorts of stuff. It was ridiculous. He was spending his whole waking hours just seeing what he could do. That's it. He went to the local paper and they printed an article saying that I was... they never ever came to me for my view. And they printed this article in the local paper saying that... oh, I'm probably a bit ahead of myself there, actually. I'll go back to that bit. That's after the court case. But... that's it. He'd put notices up on all the lampposts initially round my town saying that I was a slag and that I'd done this and I'd done that and all the rest of it. Everywhere you went, he'd put these notices up. And he just spent his waking hour. He totally flipped out. He definitely had. And then...
Is this the sort of thing, do you still dream about things like
yeah, it's still there. It's clear. That's all clear. All of that's there. And everything, and I'm still annoyed at the paper. Well, they didn't come and get my viewpoint. I'll say about that in a minute. But because there was two initially, the first court things were obviously the divorce thing, which was, I got the decree nisi pretty quick, but it was a year before I finally got the divorce, because what went on in the meantime was that he it was bonfire night 1992. My son had gone to stay with my sister, and I was at a friend's for firework night, and I'd recently got an aunt's phone because he'd kept ringing me, and I kept changing the number and everything, and I'd got an aunt's phone, so I thought, well, I can vet it, and I rang it just to check it was working, and it just kept ringing and ringing and ringing. It didn't go onto the aunt's phone, and you know when you just get a gut feeling something's not right. I thought something's not right, and I said to my friend, can your mum drop me back because there's something really not right. And we got back there to two pump fire engines outside my house, and I had no bathroom. He'd put every item of clothing I owned in the bath and set it alight, and it was blessed there was a fireman that lived up the road, and because I did the old thing of leaving the landing light on, do you know what I mean, like people did when you went out.
Of course you did.
He didn't know if I was there or not, so he kicked the door in, bless him, to make sure me and my son weren't there. And then they got obviously the fire engine and everything. Totally no hole where the bathroom was, no clothes. I had no clothes. Smoke damage everywhere. I think in his walk mine that he thought if I had no clothes I couldn't go out. So I couldn't live in my house for 10 weeks. I had to stay with my mum. I didn't stay with my mum that night. I stayed with my friend who'd taken me. We'd gone to firework do, because her mum said, right, we'll go and tell your parents. We better go tell your parents. Went down to tell my parents, and my mum was very dismissive of it all. She just, there was nothing. There was no...
How much did that hurt?
That really hurt. And I think my friend's mum, I'd been friends with this girl since we were at school. Yeah. So she sort of knew of my mum. She didn't really know much about her. And she had been like a second mum to me, really. She'd been lovely, my friend's mum. She always was, and looked after me, really. And I don't think she could believe how my mum was, really. I don't think my dad even come out in the kitchen. I don't know why he didn't appear. And so it just ended up... I think she just didn't want the police at her door and all the rest of it.
Was it the troublesome daughter thing?
Yeah.
Your fault?
Oh, it's my fault. Just like we had a row once, said it was my fault. I said, yeah, I know it's my fault. There's war in Afghanistan, isn't there, Mum? It's my fault. So, Yeah, I stayed at hers for that night. But then I had to come back and stay with Mum. And, you know, it was all right while I was there, but I used to go along to my friends for a bath or a shower along the road because Mum, it was like once a week you could have a bath and that was it. I was 26. And it's a nightmare. I still felt like a little child in her house, but there you go. And I was lucky that the friend that helped me a lot, she had people in the trade that could help get my house sorted. And luckily I had still kept the insurance on the house, but had his name taken off it a few weeks before. Luckily I'd done that, otherwise I wouldn't have got. Because the police went up, they knew, because they'd had all these reports, I'd kept going to the police. Well, I like to think they're better with domestic abuse and everything now, because they didn't have a lot they could do back then. They didn't really sort of do anything. I mean, he'd broken in before and stolen a load of stuff from me. All my jewellery, my dad had made me a jewellery box that had gone.
Can I ask you, why did you want to go back to that house? Were you not fearful? You know, I'm thinking myself, someone's breaking in, you know, broke in and set everything on fire. Were you not? Did you just not want to?
I don't know. I don't know what was. I just want no. Well, I don't think I thought I could run away. So I just thought, well, no, it's my home. Even though I couldn't live in the home that was burgled, this home, I thought, because we'd bought it and everything, I was still managing to pay a bit of the mortgage and all the rest of it. And I just thought, you know, I want to try and, you know, just get on with my life and just get back here. And I don't know, I didn't have a plan at all. I know I didn't want to stop at my mum's, but I just thought I need to get it sorted. So luckily, the insurance paid half. They didn't pay all, they paid half. So, and this is when he'd been arrested and he ended up being put on remand for 9 months, it turned out, in the end, and he was at HMP Woodhill.
Woodhill?
Yeah.
Milton Keynes?
Yeah. But it was regular, he had to keep coming up to see if they'd let him out beforehand, and the police had to put the point forward. They were on my side, these two plainclothes, you know, coppers. In the end, got to know him quite well, really, in the end, because they were putting the case forward that he's not safe to be let, you know, until it's gone to court. And he was up on about 15 charges in the end: threats to kill, endangering life, and all the rest of it, loads of stuff. So after a year it came to court. In this meantime, I'd got on with my life, met somebody else who eventually became my second husband. That's another story. And he went to court a year after he'd been put away, I think, and on 9 months. And it was a week. It didn't even last a week, I don't think. And by the time I got to court, I think I was angry. So, and I didn't have any coaching us how to...
No, you don't get any help in court.
Help at all. So, he admitted, apparently, I didn't sit through it all, but he admitted so many charges in the box. It was horrible seeing him. First time I saw him, sat there, it was horrible. It was horrible, because he just had this look, he had these eyes. And I didn't want to sit. Once I'd given my bit, they were trying to turn it round, and I got carted off into the thing halfway through with my barrister and everything, saying they're trying to turn it around, that you set fire to your house on purpose, this, that and the other. But the way it was going, it looked like I was going to get carted off to prison.
What the fuck?
I know, and that's how it was going. And like, you know how barristers go when they start up, you know, going at you.
I tell people this: they're not friendly.
They're not.
You know, they can defend. They can be defending someone they know is guilty, but their aim is to get them off.
Yeah.
There's no sort of justice or anything like that. It's about winning.
Yeah, it is.
And you know,
they don't care, so they rip you to bits. They rip you to bits.
We're quite fragile then, anyway.
I think I'd got stronger over that time.
Did
That's
you?
the trouble. I'd have been better if I'd burst into tears and collapsed in the box, I reckon. That's the trouble. I think I was too angry. So, whatever. But the evidence was there, but he'd been very clever, I think, because that 9 months he'd been in Woodhill, he'd learnt a few tricks, I think. All the time he was in Woodhill, he was still ringing me up, threatening me and everything, all the time.
Did you not contact the prison?
Yeah, still did. No, still did. I changed my phone number. He'd find it from somewhere, I don't know how. X-directory, everything. He was still doing it.
Can,
yeah,
you know.
He got very clever, so he learnt a few more tricks. So, when I was at home after I'd done my bit and everything, and a couple of days after and everything had carried on, I got a phone call from the police saying they've only let him go. I would say that we can't guarantee your safety. You got 20 minutes to get out your house. Wherever
out of your house?
Out of my house.
The police told you that?
Yeah.
And you got your son with you?
Yeah.
What did that feel like? Did you panic?
Shit. I thought, fuck, he's gonna.
You can swear if you like, love.
He's gonna fucking kill me. He's gonna kill me. He's tried umpteen times. I mean, you know, at one point he had the standing knife to my throat and raped me when he'd got in at one point.
Oh Jesus!
You know. So.
Did you try and get him charged for that?
Yeah, that was one of the charges. So there was so much. That's what I mean. I can't remember because I've.
No, listen. You don't need to remember it all, love.
It was horrendous.
Where did you go then? You obviously got out now.
My sisters, because she lived further away. She didn't live in the same. She was still down south, but she was further away, and he wouldn't. He was driving. He could drive, but I don't think he'd got his car then. But he could have rented a car or got. I don't bloody know. We went over there initially, and this chap that I was seeing, who became my second husband, he came with me. I mean, I think I was feeling stronger because he was with me, and he was good. He was looking after us, really. He was.
Did you still go back to the same house?
Eventually, I went back to the same house because we were going to get married. It had died down. For some reason, it had died down. We ended up back at the same house. We got married because the divorce had finally come through. We got married too soon again. But yeah, I will say I was naive, vulnerable. But
on the bounce, as they say.
On the bounce, definitely on the bounce. But I think he made me feel safe, I suppose. So
is that what you were craving?
Yeah, to feel safe, I think. And that's the only way I could feel. It's ridiculous now because I mean, my daughter's a strong, independent woman of 28. She doesn't need a bloke to define her. But we were I don't know how we were sort of brought up to feel like you got married, had kids, and that's what it was. So I was a bit of Elizabeth Taylor there, I think. I didn't date it as much as just married them. So... Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I did get called. My mate said, you're trying to catch up with Liz Taylor, aren't you? I said, oh, shut up. So, but yeah, so we did end up back at the house at this was before we got married.
Yep.
Yeah. And one night we're in bed and all of a sudden there's a smash through the window and it broke the bedroom window and there was fire and it covered it. Luckily it was a Molotov cocktail, so it was basically a petrol bomb.
Bottle, lit, thrown through.
Yeah, thrown through. But the bottle had bounced back out because the forensic bloke that came round afterwards said if that whole thing had come through, you'd be dead. You, your son, your fella, you'd all be dead, you wouldn't be here. And he had 4 others lined up on the wall.
Really?
Yeah. But nobody saw him. He obviously didn't leave prints, so they couldn't prove it was him. The police knew it was him.
Yeah.
They went after him.
Yeah.
Took him down the neck, and apparently he was sat in the cell whistling and everything. And the chief inspector came in and he said, will you be pleased to know that your wife and son are okay? You know, because even if he hadn't have done it,
yeah,
You'd have thought he'd have been concerned about his son.
Yeah.
Your ex-wife, sorry, is all right, or, you know, but your son's okay, they're safe. And he just carried on whistling. He didn't give a toss. Didn't give a toss. And he didn't even get to court. So that time it was like the police said to me, they said, look, they were probably sick of me. I'd had alarms in the house, you know, panic alarms, everything.
What, just tell me this, because I believe this is quite true. When you're in that situation, yeah, so you're reporting things, you're going through things, did you yourself sort of give up on the process? You know,
Yeah, I sort of thought,
you know, like, what's the point?
What's the point? But I had to do it. It's like when he'd beat me up that time, when he'd broke in and my son had to get the neighbours to get the police. I had the doctor out to prove, and she did come out. I had a good doctor. She came to prove that I'd got injuries that he'd done and everything. I had to do it all because I know my solicitor told me I had to do everything to document everything, and you more or less have to go for everything, otherwise, you know.
So how many years of abuse were that then?
Well, it kicked off worse when I said, like they always say now, because they're very up with all this domestic abuse and coercive control, which I now know that's what I'd been under.
Yeah.
Oh God, I've gone blank. This is
it's okay.
Rams.
It's okay.
I've totally gone blank. What was I talking about?
About how long that abuse.
How long the abuse had gone on. Well, it was the worst bit when I wanted it to end. That was the worst bit. But I'd put up with a good 3 years before that. 3 years before that. And we were only married 7 years.
So when you met the new chap and you got married, did it stop? Did he go away?
Yeah, he did, but not after that, because we had to leave the house, and the police had said to me, we can get you settled somewhere, but you're going to have to leave your house. We don't do safe houses.
Yeah.
But we can talk to councils and everything and get you. Well, they couldn't, none of the councils around where we lived would do it, so I ended up 50 miles away.
Was that a good thing, looking back?
Looking back, it was a good thing, but it was hard at the time because I didn't drive.
Yeah.
And my son was having to leave his school. I was having to leave my friends, and one of my friends was very, well, you shouldn't let him do that, you should stay. But I said, I'm not going to be a sitting duck, because he's just going to, the police aren't, they can't do anything to stop him. He's going to keep on till I'm dead.
Unless you catch someone in the act.
Yeah.
Then.
And I don't want to sit here and be dead. You know, I've got to do what's right, and it was hard. And it was hard. It was awful because we ended up in a homeless hostel. Luckily, it was only for 6 weeks, but it was all over Christmas. We were in a homeless hostel, one room, where for 3 of us, where you had drug addicts, mental health cases, everything. It was horrible. Bed bugs, the lot. It was grim, and I'd left everything that I'd got in that house. I'd had no clothes. The only clothes I had was what my friends had given me, because he'd burnt all my clothes. I had no clothes. Funny enough, the only thing he didn't burn was a wedding dress.
Really?
Yeah.
So did you manage to start a new life 50 miles away?
We did eventually, yeah. We had a council house and we started a new life. Then I had my daughter. And then that went downhill pretty quick, really, which isn't a surprise. Seeing as he was the same star sign. Not that everybody's into star signs.
No.
But he was the same. He was a birthday day after my ex-husband. Same age. Divorced. And...
Was he a narcissist?
Or he was big time narcissist. I mean, I'm not perfect. I don't want people to think that I'm some perfect person. I'm not. I don't suppose I'm easy to live with at all. But I wasn't abusive. I wasn't, I was just trying
Did they see it? Did they see people who were vulnerable?
Yeah, of course I
They
do.
do. I know they do.
Of course I
I know.
do.
Do you see that yourself?
I do
that,
now, yeah, I do, and I see it now because he homed in. He was living in a rented room or whatever, and my second husband, and he sort of moved in with us pretty quick.
Into your house?
Into my house, yeah, and yeah, and he was a real narcissist. He didn't.
They're almost like cuckoos, aren't they?
Yeah.
A lot of people I know they sort of move into homes and then
Yeah. Well, he did
take over.
and they did. And initially, he was all right with my son, but at one point, I had to come between him and my son. My son was only 8 at the time because he was trying to kick the shit out of him. I don't know if it's because he thought he looked like my ex-husband, because he'd had a run-in with my ex-husband at one point. But he was really... I had to stop it. I've since found out other stuff, but I can't talk about that on here about him. But what he did to my son. But I had my daughter, and she was... because initially I didn't think I was going to have any more children. Then I thought, no, do you know what? I do want another child. So I had my daughter when I was 28. And he was not a hands-on father at all. He really wasn't.
So at the time you have your daughter, are you thinking that this ain't going right either?
Yeah. I thought, oh, here we go again. This is it, isn't it? And then I found out that he'd been cruising around red light districts. Then he I found out that he's, even though he's remarried, I found out that he's definitely the other way. He's definitely a closet gay.
Right, okay.
Because of certain stuff that's happened. And I also found out, and my daughter didn't mind me talking about this because I spoke with her, that I found out only 2 years ago, because she found out because we've been through hell with her mental health and everything. And my sons, to be fair, because of the life they've had, and the guilt is horrendous.
Yeah.
I get with like your previous guests, you just feel really guilty as to why did you not see it. But
it's very easy for somebody looking out inwardly.
Yeah.
You know, I guess we're pretty lucky because Tony, that was my dad, he fucked off when I was like 2 and my sister was 1. Yeah. Otherwise, our childhoods might have been very different.
Yeah.
Well, it weren't that he went. My mother just picked us up.
It's better to be out the picture. I mean,
but to be fair, not a lot of people. So my mum went back to her mum's with us.
Yeah.
So she had somewhere to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas a lot of people, you feel isolated. You have nowhere to go. You have no friends or whatever, and it's like, what do I do? Where do I go?
Yeah, you've got to have.
You don't see a way out.
You've got to have a plan, you see, and it's not always easy to get a plan and get money. It's not easy to get money behind you. But I forgot to say, my ex-husband ended up. I only found this out because he was sending cards to my son every year to my mum's address because he knew where my mum lived. And it had a prison stamp on it in America. He was in prison in America.
Really?
We found out for arson.
Wow. So he
did do time. Well, he's out now. He's out now. He's out, but only recently out. I think within the last 5 years, I think he's been let out. But yeah, he did a long time.
Anyway, sorry for interrupting. You were on about your daughter.
My daughter, yeah, she was sexually abused by her father, and she would have only been a baby toddler at the time. And from what she said, it would have been in the bath. A lot of it was in the bath, and I didn't see it. I didn't know, but I did see. This is where I feel awful. I did see that she was getting overly sexualised.
Yeah, but you wouldn't necessarily...
But I didn't think it was her father. I don't know who I thought it was, but I did not think.
How old was she then?
minute it was a 2, 3.
You know, people, these things happen. People don't know. Obviously, guilt, massive.
Massive still to this day. Massive. Because I'm supposed to protect her. I'm supposed to... Do you know what I mean? You're supposed to be a mum. You're supposed to protect your kids. And if I'd known for 1 minute, we'd have been out of that house.
You have a good relationship with both kids,
Brilliant. Yeah, brilliant relationship. I had to work at it initially because, yeah, teens are hard at any time, aren't they? But extra hard. I mean, my son was a difficult teenager. He really was. At one point, I thought, God, I need to put him on social services doorstep because I didn't know what to do with him. They'd give him counselling initially.
Yeah.
I mean, bear in mind when we'd split up, I think the last time he saw his father was when he was 7, and that was at a so-called supervised visit, but the bloody stupid court welfare officer had only told him where we were and brought him up there. I went mad.
Yeah, professionalism, you know.
Yeah.
Funny enough, we were talking about this yesterday, you know, like with social services and the like, some things proper hardcore, strict, and then things like that are serious.
She hadn't
about
even
safeguarding.
read the notes.
Safeguard? No, they don't. They just.
She hadn't even. I shouted down the phone at her. Have you not even read the notes? Well, I said, well, if you had, you'd have realised that we were relocated for our own safety, and you've told him where we are.
Oh, fucking hell.
And we had to go and meet in this place. And that was the last. That weren't the last time I saw him. I had to see him in court again after that. But it was awful. That was the last time Sean saw him. But Sean had some counselling after that. But he just, it was too soon, and he was only 7. He didn't know what to do with it. It's now that he could read. He's in his 30s now. He really could, but he you know, says, no, I'm okay. The past's the past. He's a man. He's got a very good wife, and she's there for him.
Yeah, that helps. Probably good therapy as you're going to get, to be honest. It does help,
really. I don't think going to a counsellor, because counselling's not out for me. It was only last year I was diagnosed with PTSD. So counselling did not help me at all. I've had a couple of bouts at it. I'm not being funny over it.
It doesn't take no diagnosing when you've been through that sort of trauma, and the guilt itself don't seem to let it go away.
Well, no, and
that's what we're doing now, isn't it?
Yeah,
putting it out there.
We're putting it out there because I'm putting it out there so that people realise there is light at the end of the tunnel. You can get a life together. I got my nursing degree. I managed to marry a wonderful man 20 years ago who has been a father to my kids, and you know, we live in a nice place, and we've got good friends, and we, you know,
good relationships with kids.
And I feel happy. I've got a great relationship with kids. I mean, my daughter's got BPD, and which was diagnosed after 10 years, took 10 years, and a couple of suicide attempts, but we got
borderline personality disorder, guys. You know, these things develop, childhood trauma, abandonment, and things like this.
Yeah.
And if they go unchecked.
Yeah. And the last time she saw her father, she was 12.
Did anything happen to him?
No, he remarried, and before I married, he remarried. And I paid for the divorce. Great, innit? It's because I wanted to get divorced, because we did it for unreasonable behaviour in the end, but it was basically because he was abusive and physically abusive, and he was, you know, dipping his wick elsewhere, shall we say. So, and I weren't happy. I remember looking at him one day.
You didn't know
kitchen.
Your daughter had been abused?
Not then. I only found out 2 years ago. And that was when she'd been through counselling and everything.
Did she tell you?
Yeah, she told me. And we've spoken numerous times, and she doesn't want me to feel guilty. But you're going to, it doesn't matter what she says, I'm going to feel guilty. And I find it, what's really done me is looking at pictures of her as a young girl, little one.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at her, and I find it really hard to look up now.
Yeah.
Because not that there's any with her father, that it's just her, and I'm looking at her thinking, what was going on now? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But she doesn't want to press charges. She doesn't want to come, because she just doesn't.
I'm 100% behind that. It is a very difficult process, sometimes you don't get the result you want. And I honestly believe sometimes it's down to the individual.
Yeah.
If they want to carry on with life and get on, good on them.
Yeah.
If they want to go the other way, then you can just support someone, that's all. But
Yeah.
the process we've already talked about is horrible.
It's horrible.
You don't get supported. You're on a level playing field with the abuser, and you know, might be first up best dressed, best barrister.
Yeah.
How you deal with it, how you deal leading up to it. There's so many variables, and it's a horrible process.
And I take my hat off to anybody that goes through it and does it. I really do. I think these people that have done it later on in life for historical child abuse, I think they've done amazing, because it's, oh God, it'd be horrendous. And my daughter, I know she couldn't go through that.
No.
She couldn't.
You don't want to. Listen, if you're in a good place now, to getting out there as a mum, for me,
yeah,
you know, that's best possible outcome.
The worst of it was the counsellor that she'd been speaking to had said, bearing in mind my daughter was an adult at this time, and said, well, I need to report that.
Fucking assholes.
And I said, and my daughter really stressed out, and she went, you can't, no, I don't want it reporting. Well, it's a duty of care. She goes, I'm not a child. I get it if I was a child.
Confidentiality.
Yeah,
and
I get it if I was a child, but I do not want it reporting. And she didn't, apparently. But then my daughter's not had any counselling since then. But that really shit her up, and she was scared. And then how can you be opening counselling after that when somebody's...
No, you can't, can you? End of the day, that's what's missing from a lot of these people.
Yeah.
You know what word I'm going to say? It's common sense.
Yeah.
If you're talking to someone, you know, you're working with someone and they bring out something like that.
Yeah.
Common sense.
Yeah.
You don't say something like that.
No, exactly. You don't. So, yeah. So bless her. She really, that was hard. So, but no, you know, it was a lot for her to tell me, and I'm glad she did, and we've got through that. But obviously all this has a knock-on effect with everything, doesn't it? You know, it has a knock-on effect with your health, and it's had a massive knock-on effect with my health.
Yeah, of course it has. A big believer, you know, stress and that.
Yeah.
You got some autoimmune issues. We're going to do a video about that. But, you know, stress, continuous stress, holding this stuff in, feelings of guilt and that, it all wears you down.
Yeah, it does.
And leaves you.
Yeah, it does. And so, so I ended up having to retire out nursing early because of my health. So, and I do put a lot of it down to what I went through.
You spoke very calmly and very eloquently.
Thank you. I feel like I've rambled.
No, you haven't. No. You haven't rambled at all. You know, you're still reliving a lot of this stuff. It's horrendous. And if I think of the worst places I've been in my life, you know, fearful, and then, you know, as a young woman, going into a house, not knowing whether somebody's there.
Yeah, that was scary. Yeah, it was, I've got to say.
You know, the horrendous sexual assaults.
Yeah.
Shocking.
Yeah.
But lass, do you know what we're going to do? We're going to go and get a brew now.
Oh God, I need a brew.
Breathe.
Need a brew,
Debs. Yeah. No, listen, thanks, love. Listen. Go.
Right.
I'm going to do some more work with Debs. We're going to do a Mental Health Monday and talk about a few things. And anything else you want to put out there at a later time.
Yeah, great.
Bless you, love.
And you. Thank you.
Brew time.
Definitely.
I'll say it. Can you say that?
I'll say this.
I'll say it.